You're listening to the Battle Belongs podcast, where real stories meet unwavering truth. This show is a space for bold conversations, powerful testimonies, and unshakable faith. In a culture at war with truth, we're here to remind you, the battle doesn't belong to us. The battle belongs to the Lord.
So, there's been some breaking news. Pop culture shocked the entire world. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged. How do you feel about that?
For the sake of Caro from Common Nutrition, I'm happy for him.
I'm not.
Well,
because now, like, the saga continues.
It doesn't affect me. That's how I feel.
Yeah, but now, like,
wait,
when you're watching an NFL game,
if it wasn't them, there'd be something else.
When there's an NFL game, they're just going to be like on the screen even more now. I just want to read you some details about this engagement because everyone else is talking about it. So why don't we? I mean, for crying out loud, the president of the United States was having his cabinet meeting, and the first question, I believe, from a reporter there was, "Sir, I know you guys are talking about, like, you know, border security, national security, but I just have to ask, what's your reaction to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce just now getting engaged?" Like, that is our news today. And I just got another Fox News alert. It says, "Stadium spotlight, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift debut as a newly engaged couple at the college football game.
Cincinnati, Nebraska."
Anyway, it is estimated several outlets have valuations ranging from $250,000 to $1 million for this ring.
I mean, if anything else for them, they're playing their cards right. Even if they were, like, not in love, they are making so much money off of this relationship.
Do you think she's only doing this to write a sick divorce album?
No, I mean, we'll probably tie that into the whole Forrest Frank thing here in a little bit, because that's what a lot of people think for his sake, that he broke his back to write a song, and I just don't think that's true.
Yeah, but Taylor Swift is known for, like, picking wrong men to write songs.
We'll see. From my belief standpoint, I hope that they pursue a godly marriage and even surrender their lives to Jesus.
That's good. That's good. It was also estimated $2,000 for the flowers in the yard for the setup. Tens of thousands of dollars.
I don't care. I just don't care.
Other breaking news in pop culture.
Yeah.
The CEO of Cracker Barrel had to have listened to the Battle Belongs podcast last week because...
out of all the outlets.
Yes. Out of everyone in the world, they had to have tuned in here because I brought it up and you said, it's just a disgrace. The nostalgia's gone. And what do we see?
It's back.
It's back. Better than before. Actually, it's just the same. How do we feel?
Yeah. First of all, I rarely go to Cracker Barrel, mainly because the closest one is like 40 minutes from us. It's down at the mall. Yeah. Now I think, like you said, like the nostalgia, that it's everything. It's what represents America. And they try to take away Cracker Barrel from us. I just don't understand. And yet here we are, fighting back for what's really ours here in America. So I'm happy. I don't really understand the concept, trying to modernize something that's literally meant to be an old country store.
Yeah, they wanted to refresh what was part of a broader repositioning and modern brand strategy.
I think more than anything else, not like the sign was the starting place, but like when I heard about like the interior, white walls, no picture frames, what are you doing?
And then they said that they were going to just change the logo, but then keep everything else the same.
So they started backtracking.
Yes, basically immediately. I mean, Donald Trump, once again, the man has all the power. And he made a comment, and then they backtracked. And they brought back Uncle Herschel. So it just shows, their stocks were like plummeting too. So it just shows you, like, if you go woke, you go broke. And I love it. It teaches you a lesson. So, like, the bigger question, though, we were talking about it earlier, is like boycotting and Christians, because I think it was like a lot of Christians just because of, the whole woke culture nowadays. But like, what's the extent of boycotting? Should Christians boycott different things that they don't agree with? And you can't really boycott everything.
Yeah.
Because we know you don't.
No, me? Yeah, yeah. Well, I think first and foremost, like, people need to recognize, and this is not anything deeply spiritual here.
Yeah.
Like, our allegiance is to Christ, not a company. It's at the end of the day, like, I will stand with, like, I would rather, the famous quote from God's Not Dead too, I would rather stand with God and be judged by the world than be judged by the world, or than stand with the world and be judged by God. And so at the end of the day, like, I'm not tied to a company in this world. It's like, it wouldn't even make sense. But on the other hand, I think that there is a balance for believers when it comes to such things. So think about it over just, I guess, the last 10 years. Target was one of those things at an all-time high. I think Starbucks, even, I would say in that 10-year time frame, there was a debate on whether or not Christians should drink coffee from there. And so those things, those are the two that come to mind. I don't know if you're thinking of anything else.
Walmart got thrown in the mix a couple years ago too. And it was really over like the whole abortion thing, because people started to find out that they were funding Planned Parenthood and abortion directly. Target, you had the whole gender thing that is still in stores.
Yeah.
But also they didn't like really have a Pride Month thing this year at Target. So I think we're starting to see a little shift there. But Starbucks, one of the wokest companies out there, whether it's abortion, whether it's the trans agenda, LGBT, XYZ community. And then Walmart also started funding abortions too. And that was like quickly put to a halt.
Yeah.
Because people push back.
Okay, so for example, Starbucks, I'll meet students there for coffee to, just to sit and talk. Walmart is,
but C3's right next to it. That's crazy.
Not right next to it. I mean, different. I'm
down the road.
I'm thinking of Coastal.
Oh,
but yes, that's the thing, is like, are there other options? Absolutely. Sometimes it's about convenience for me. I think about Romans 14. So if we want to get biblical, Paul is talking about this idea of like certain Christians eating meat, versus some that are, and he describes them as weaker Christians that eat only vegetables, mainly because this meat was being sacrificed to idols. And so think of it in our context today, like, are we sacrificing like our money and putting it towards like almost idol worship?
Yeah.
And so there is definitely a debate there. But I think there is a wisdom standpoint for believers, and I think we've talked about this before on the podcast. Wisdom has to take place. Like, if there's another option right near like C3, do it. Like,
are you going to?
I just do. Like, honestly, I don't even think about it though. Like, that's where my mind is. Like, I don't think about like, oh, I'm gonna go here so I can fund Planned Parenthood or something like that.
But I think that's also a problem, that people don't think about like where they're putting their money to. And like I said, everything that we like have in this world basically is funded by leftist lunatics, whether it's Apple, whether it's every technology equipment that we have, TVs.
Yeah.
Probably half the stuff in the podcast room is funded by liberals or created by a liberal company. So it's not like we can't necessarily avoid it unless we're like the Amish and go homesteading and do everything ourselves. But also, like, a lot of people don't think about it. And should we like put more of an emphasis on thinking about where money goes? Because like for Starbucks, I don't go there unless I have a gift card, because I know directly, like.
So you're not completely avoiding it either.
No.
Which I think would be like basically saying like Christians should hide away, and that's just not true. I think there is a holiness that we uphold, a conviction that we uphold, and it's not like you're going out there and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to rebel against God today.
I'm not like picketing against.
Yes,
I'm not sitting on the Starbucks corner being like, don't get coffee here.
Like if we pull up to a Target in a plaza and it's like a Target and they're like, oh, I want to go in here. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not buying anything.
I will 100% never buy anything
I know
from
you.
Target, though. That's the thing.
And here's the thing about that text that in Romans 14 too. if you have a strong conviction about something like this, and like me and you are in the car, we stop there. You're like, no, I seriously, like, I don't want to. It would be unloving of me to say like, oh, you need to get over it, and vice versa too. You like judgment on your side, and this is where judgment does not get gets its proper definition, and it's like, you can't just be like, gosh, you're disgusting, like, you sick-minded freak. But and so like there's
PJ shops at Target. He's going to hell.
There's a balance there. Like at the end of the day, there is a balance that I agree with you to the standpoint that Christians need to think more. I think sometimes we get
thoughtlessness.
Yes, thoughtlessness is one of the greatest sins. J.C. Ryle has told us about young men, which is true. We have thoughtless thoughts. And so maybe we should think more. There are alternatives that we can take, but you are also not living in like a sinful standpoint when you shop at a certain place or you buy coffee from a certain place. Even Cracker Barrel, like say they went completely woke. If
they had a whole pride thing on their website too, which they took down without anyone knowing throughout this whole thing.
Even like I think about like my favorite sports team in the NFL is the Buffalo Bills. I click on their Instagram page, maybe, but I love Josh Allen. But they revealed some jerseys for this year against the Patriots. Loved them. Clicked on their profile, and like they only have two. What's that thing in the Instagram? Like it's stories, but they're saved. Highlights. Two different highlights. One is just as pride, and it's the rainbow flag covering the Bills logo. And I'm just like, first of all, your sports team. What?
Right.
Why? But it doesn't stop me from like watching football. You know, we've seen movements throughout sports. You just talked about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. When we click on ESPN, the app right now, what is going to be the first thing that pops up? The first thing that popped up the other day for me was Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. The first thing that's going to pop up today is going to be Travis Kelce spotting with Taylor Swift at the Cincinnati
Not even ESPN
game.
Fox News, people.
And so it's just it shows you how far we take things.
Yeah.
And I do think about Daniel. I think about the idol worship taking place and the contract that was put into place. And yet, what does he do? He goes home, opens his windows, and he prays to his God openly. No, like obviously, like. I don't know if he knew at that point, like people were after him, but he was brought forth to the king and said he never just diminished his belief system in God, and so it just goes to show like you like stand firm on your beliefs, call out idol worship. You know, if there are people that can idolize anything, especially, and trust me, there are people that are supporting these movements, supporting LGBTQ+, supporting
abortion,
Planned Parenthood, yes, supporting such things, and we cannot stand with them on those matters. But there is a balance that takes place. So that's where I think that's where I'd settle.
I just say like Christians shouldn't go out of their way to go specifically to these places, you know, if there is another option, like you said. And I will note, like, it's a mission field there too. Like it's a battlefield, and we have friends that work in places like these, in Starbucks, and they are strong people of God, and they're there and can like share the gospel too. So they can make a difference inside. And I don't think Christians should like shy away from even working in these places then if they have the opportunity to share the gospel.
Yeah, don't wait for your church to go on a mission trip.
Yeah,
be the mission. You know, fulfill the Great Commission where you are. Be where your feet are.
Maybe that's what I'm going to start doing. Is instead of man on the street, I'm going to start doing like
man in Starbucks.
Yes, and just walk in and start sharing the gospel.
Don't be like that dude on. It was like an Instagram account. He says when the Lord tells you to go to Starbucks and openly praise, you go to Starbucks and open. And he got on top of a table with a speaker, and he was singing that song "Praise." And it was embarrassing to the Christian faith because he was doing it out of annoyance. He was doing it for selfish ambition. And in no way, shape, or form do I believe that Jesus was glorified in that.
He said like Jesus told him to do it?
Yeah.
That's
God
wild.
tells you to go to Starbucks and And I'm like, I would love to know where
he
you
told
read that or
or
heard that,
heard
maybe in
that
a
from.
dream. So.
Okay, so now let's shift into a little less fun and interesting topic. So I think we all know about the school shooting that happened in Minnesota this week. It was at a Catholic school, which also had it was at a church, but the Catholic school is like connected to it. It happened on Wednesday, the 27th, during a back to school mass at Annunciation Catholic Church and School in South Minneapolis. And when we first heard about it, I mean, I don't know what your first thoughts were.
Heart-wrenching.
Yeah, definitely.
Not surprised.
Yes.
Which is like, I hate to say.
Over the past week, we've been hearing like these false alarms for school shootings, or armed shooters.
South Carolina,
active shooters.
University.
Yes. Yeah, because the guy was holding an umbrella.
Yeah.
And I think it's just become like a normal thing now.
Mm-hmm.
But my first reaction working in politics is obviously, besides like the heartbreak and, thoughts and prayers for families and the victims, was how is the media going to start portraying this? Because working in politics, that's like the first thing that we go to is the media. And everyone on one side of the aisle started blaming the other side of the aisle because there's no gun control. And so that was like the first thing that I was seeing. And Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, was saying it's time for the GOP to do something. And I just wanted to like make it clear before we dive into the problems with the shooter is you can't have a gun there anyway. It was a no gun area in a school.
Minneapolis?
Like the school itself, you can't have a gun there. Therefore, criminals don't obey gun laws.
Yeah.
And I don't think people grasp that. It's like this whole thing where they're like, sorry, I'm going on a rabbit trail right now, but they say if we ban abortion, that just means there's going to be illegal abortions. But they think that if we ban guns, then shootings are going to stop.
Yeah, like two sides of the coin here.
Yes. So anyway, that's besides the point. But let's talk about the shooter itself, because we're also starting to see a trend of mental illness in America. And I think it's probably one of the most destroying things that is happening to society here in America. And we saw that this gunman was, in fact, I can't say tranny.
Transgender.
He was a tranny. He was a man pretending to be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
His legal name is Robin Westman, or was Robin Westman. He was 23 years old. In 2019, 2020, he changed his legal birth name of Robert Westman to Robin Westman.
2018, so
2019, 2020.
So 6 years ago, roughly.
Yes.
So he would have been 17.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which means he was a minor. Therefore, he had to get like parental consent to do the name change. And his mother signed off on it, who retired from this church that he shot up. And he was a former student there. So, again, we see Christians bowing in to this false identity, bowing into sin, giving into, or allowing sin to happen. It's like that toxic empathy thing. So the mother signed off on delusion of her son. What do you think, like, there's some blame here for allowing this identity crisis to unfold from a parental standpoint?
I think that you can always trace a mental illness back to a certain point in somebody's life. Just something that has taken place that brought them to that honest conclusion. I shouldn't say honest, brought them to the conclusion that they drew about their identity. And it's a sad reality because obviously something was taking place before even like we got to the point of mom signing off on a paper. Either, in most cases, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but like maybe a lack of a male figure, like a father figure in life, abuse, physically, mentally, spiritually, even the Catholic school. There are bad representatives of Jesus that sadly are involved in schools, churches, and so forth, like false teachers, and maybe fed into this. I'm not and don't hear me wrong, like I'm not pointing the finger at anybody specific here. I'm not even pointing, like you can't, like, to do what this young,
You're not passing the blame onto something else.
but to do what this young man did, like, we can't blame anybody else besides him. Like, he did this willingly. But what I'm saying is, like, you can trace back, like, the mental side of this to maybe a certain point. Bullying, we just talked about your testimony.
Yeah.
And like, there is a point where you fight against yourself because you start believing the lie around you. And I highly doubt that this young man had people pouring into him. I doubt there was mentors and father-like figures or friends supporting him in the right manner, versus him hearing his own voices in his head. And so like, what I'm saying is it got him to a point where, okay, I can change my identity. And now, because you hate everything that's happening in America or wherever you are, or you just see stuff on social media, you get these anxious feelings, whatever it is, that draws you to a point where you're like, I'm going to take it out on these innocent children.
Yeah. And it's deeper and sicker and more twisted than that. The manifesto, a handwritten 4-page manifesto letter addressed to the family and friends, opens with, "I don't expect forgiveness. I do apologize for the efforts my actions will have on your lives." But he starts talking about a self-described sickness, an obsession with prior mass shooters, especially Sandy Hook school shooting, diagrams of the church, and statements about wanting notoriety and to target children. One outlet notes the shooter wrote the act was not for a political or racist cause, despite the hateful imagery on weapons.
It was for selfish gain.
Yeah. And he wanted notoriety out of it. But he also talked about, what I read was thinking he was like dying of cancer. And I don't understand, like, how people miss these signs. Or did they see these signs and people just brushed over them?
Nowadays, too, everybody's self-diagnosed.
Right.
And so then you're like, how serious do we take this? It's like giving people anxiety medicine.
Yeah.
Automatically. Like, you and I could probably walk into a doctor's office right now and like be like, no, I have anxiety, I need medicine. And they'd probably write off on it.
100%.
And so
it's a money-making thing.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, it's like, it's so hard to tell. Now, the signs were there.
Yeah.
To say somebody knew, we don't know. But, man, it's so, this is like, mental health is such a problem in our world today. And I think the enemy is using it as the top tactic to try to, thinking that he's going to, win the war somehow. And sadly, he's winning the battle for so many of what God had intended and created in his children. Because everybody was made in the image of God, and yet we see these people just running the different direction. Because why? It's a narrow road that we take. The other side is like, man, I want to do whatever I want. Prime example of this kid.
Yeah.
Like, disgusting that you decide like this is what you want to do. But
and I think I read where someone who knew him growing up said that there were like signs, and I'm thinking, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Why is no one like waving a red flag here? Just to keep going on this whole manifesto thing, motive and status of the investigation, officials say that they're still assessing motive, but writings describe pure indiscriminate hate, fixation on children, and intent to cause maximum terror. Federal and local authorities are treating the case as a serious violent attack on a house of worship, includes a potential hate crime, domestic terrorism. The things that were written, I think I showed you the video, or you saw the video, the things that were written on the gun, the guns themselves, and the magazines of the guns. It's "Kill Donald Trump" is one of them. So, first of all, what the other side would do is automatically say it's a Republican shooter.
Well, they're going to also say like, well, this is what happens when we have somebody like Trump in office.
Right.
Like,
And that's already starting out. Anti-God messages and racial and anti-Semitic slurs, and also names of prior mass shooters. So I don't know how you can answer this, because you're not really in the field that I am in a legal sense. But, in America, we talk about freedom and the freedom to do basically whatever we want, and we don't want the government looking over our shoulder. But should there be a point in time where, we talk about like the FBI agent in my phone,
yeah,
yada, yada, yada. Do we think there should be some kind of like traction of, hey, this user is, constantly looking at mass shootings or watching these certain things, if it's on like public domain like Google? Like, should there be a tracking for this?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know how simple that process looks like from their side, but I think freedom. We have freedom every day, and yet there's a law still in place. Like, I don't have the freedom to go 100 miles down the road. Like, I do, but there's
I was going to say you do.
Like, there's consequences though.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you think about that, and that's why we have cops. Like, they're not just saying, hey, you can go 100 miles down the road, but like you risk losing your life. Well, I also could risk getting pulled over, getting put in jail. Same thing with these things. Like, if I'm researching, like, how do I shoot up a school?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. There should be an internet domain that like blocks this certain thing, or like raises questions, causes the government to get involved, knocks on my door and says, "Hey, we just have to know
what's
like,
up."
Yeah. There's a protection standpoint, and that's just I don't know what this looks like. This is just an opinion. So, yes, I wholeheartedly agree. I think freedom isn't. We take freedom and use and abuse it. People come to America all the time for freedom, but they do it the wrong way.
Yeah.
They get in the wrong way. There's a process to things to obtain. If freedom was what we wanted it to be, sin would never exist. Because freedom would have been found like where God had intended it. The Creator would have made His creation to a standpoint, or He did, and yet here we are. We're like, no, I want that apple, like, or whatever the fruit was. So,
well, I think it also goes to like when people talk about freedom, and I think I've tried to like explain libertarian to you, like, versus conservatives, like what's the difference. And libertarians basically like want full freedom, like the government not like stepping in, basically. So but like us, we said that like there should be a ban on porn and things like that. And I think the government's responsibility is to protect its people. That's its sole responsibility, is to serve and protect its people. And how are you going to serve and protect your people when you're allowing such things as like porn that is leading to a road of destruction in many aspects?
It's like a student walking up to a teacher and being like, "No, I want an A on this test." And they're like, "Okay,
yeah, here you go."
Yeah.
And then I think there should be some kind of like tracking there for researching different things.
I agree.
So I think Congress needs to do something and look at it. But speaking of laws and everything, and people calling for like gun control, I said earlier that Gavin Newsom was the first to be like, the GOP needs to do something, and the Democrats always talk about gun control. But the only thing it does is it hurts the law-abiding citizens from protecting themselves from a thing like this. And I think it's always good to have more good guys with guns than bad guys with guns. But the problem here was this guy got these weapons legally. And the problem with that is there should be a law for a ban on mentally ill people from purchasing weapons.
And how would we know? Right? Like, they should be able to research this and be like, okay, this kid is, I've seen his research. I've seen like what brought him to this point.
Well, I mean the transgender fact too.
Yeah.
Because if you're engaging in an identity crisis,
probably
what do you
think?
Right. Right. It's going to stem and continue to grow into something way bigger than that. So I don't think anyone who identifies as transgender should even be close to owning a weapon whatsoever. And we also don't talk about enough that that is a mental illness.
What is?
Like trans confusion, gender ideology, gender confusion, and no one talks about that enough. And we're supposed to affirm it.
Right.
I saw a picture. I want to say it's 99.9% true. It was the lieutenant governor of Minnesota, which we all know Tim Walz is the governor of Minnesota who ran for president. But the lieutenant governor had a shirt that says like save trans kids or protect trans kids or support trans whatever. But under the first word, there was a knife on it. And then it was like trans kids. And I was just like, it's very telling because these people love violence on the left and they thrive over school shootings. I want to make that one clear. The Democrat Party loves this because they're able to fundraise off of it. They're the party of death anyway. They love abortion. They love genital mutilation in children. So they thrive off of this. But that knife was like very telling of like, if you go against this, we're coming after you.
Wasn't it also was it the mayor of Minnesota? He said like thoughts and prayers is not...
Yeah. Shouldn't that be like the first thing that we do is start praying?
I just honestly like if I were to sit down with him, I would say like to a certain extent, like here's my thought, like yes, people sometimes say that out of sympathy of just like thoughts and prayers, and there's no thoughts, there's no prayers. And so I think we need to heed what we say. Like we need to take into consideration because, and I agree with you. Like that should be the first thing. I would argue that if you don't believe thoughts and prayers are the first thing you should do, you don't believe in the power of prayer, because that is our strongest force in this world. As mere human beings, I have to have a perspective of God that says I can trust and believe in the creator of the heavens and the earth, and I can rely on him, and he hears my voice, and I cry out to him. The Psalms are endless with that same concept. And so, yes, thoughts and prayers should be, and I think it was a moment of, something horrible just happened. There's a lot of emotions running through the minds of people, especially running that state. And so I'm not going to sit here and point the finger at him. Probably isn't a believer in itself. And so, that's probably weighing on his mind. He's probably heard it a dozen times walking towards that interview, whatever it may be. But at the same time, I'll say two things. Like one, if you say like my thoughts and prayers, then get on your knees and cry out to God. And two, it should be the absolute like starting place and end place for us. We should fight against the powers and the principles of this world on our knees, trusting in the greater good of who Christ is.
It shouldn't be the last resort.
No.
In any situation.
And it most of the time is for Christians, but that's a podcast for like
another time. Before or as we're wrapping up this topic, or this news piece, remember the shirt that I have that says "Make America 9/12 Again"? And you asked what that means.
I was like, what?
Yeah. So that shirt was from Graham Allen, who ran for Congress here in South Carolina. But the purpose of that was America was never more united, they say, than on September 12th, 2001. When tragedy strikes, they always said that like America comes out stronger than ever before because we unite together. But we see something like this now, and you just see how far society has come and how divided society is over this. I mean, the first thing that everyone was doing on September 12th was going to church. That like churches were filled that weekend, that Sunday, right after 9/11. And now you have politicians saying thoughts and prayers are useless and worthless.
Yeah.
On live TV. And I don't want to give any more notoriety to the shooter, but just the other facts that happened with it was 2 children were killed, ages 8 and 10. Between 17 and 18 wounded, they say. A few are in critical condition. I think it was like 14 were actually children. And he used an AR-15, a shotgun, and a Smith & Wesson 9mm. And there was over 116 rifle rounds were fired. 3 shotgun shells were fired, and a handgun malfunction with 1 live round. Absolute insanity. Okay.
Disgusting.
Moving on to another news thing. This is, I don't know if this is like news, but it's
Christian
like
circle.
Christian drama is what we'll call it.
Corey Asbury and Forrest Frank.
Yeah, Corey Asbury and Forrest Frank. Okay, give us a rundown of like what happened with that.
So Forrest Frank broke his back.
And a lot of people don't think he did, number one.
Right, because 2 weeks later, he was, he says miraculously healed.
Which I think we both believe.
Yeah, cool. Like a phenomenal story. Wish that would happen for everybody.
Literally.
And so then all these different, influencers, even Christian artists, started making like videos, like pretending to, break something of some sort, and then be like, "Oh, I'm gonna make a song out of it," because that's what they said Forrest Frank was doing. He broke his back, or said he broke his back, so then he can write a really cool song.
Mm-hmm.
And Corey Asbury was one very well known Christian artist, and made a video and was basically like kind of like making fun of Forrest. And so Forrest then responds to it, and he just says, I understand like having fun. He's like, I am not somebody to like nip it in the butt and say like you can't do certain things. He's like, but it just goes to show, like, he's like, we have to understand the influence that we have as believers. And like when other people see this and they see us kind of like going back and forth with each other, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with that. And so basically just called out Corey Asbury like on social media, responded to the video, and but at the end was like, brother, like, I love you. Like, I would even love to write a song with you, in regards to this. And Corey Asbury then responded, he's like, man, like, I'm like, was convicted.
Yeah.
And just like kind of responded with apologies, and, said would, basically love to connect, whatever. Forrest responded back. I don't know what's transpired from there. I'm pretty sure they did like maybe like a FaceTime video with each other or something. I don't know what took place there. Yeah. So that's the drama. I guess the topic of discussion is like, where would we land on this? Like, should we post these things on social media, or like,
I don't know. So it's not that I agree with one side or the other. I think a lot of this is just so stupid. Like, this whole drama thing I think was blown out of proportion, because I didn't see him talk about any other artist until Corey's. But I think Corey's was over the top, like, weird, because it was a vasectomy that he was talking about. Like, Matthew West did it first, and he was like, I was stung by a bee. And I think that's funny. And
Matthew West is known for being a comedian.
Yes. And I think like there's a time like and a place for people like making light of things. And I don't think anyone was genuinely like, these artists were making fun of Forrest and thinking that he was like lying about that. I know that lower people on the totem pole of celebrity in society think that, well, I mean, we think that it was true that he broke his back and it was healed. Yeah. But like a lot of like just random people don't believe that. But I don't think like the artists themselves believe that he was faking it or lying. And so I think the whole like God's got my back thing, it was clever, like to write a song like that. And I think
like Forrest Frank is somebody that like, he didn't need to write another song for success. Yeah. He even like talks about, he's like, he's turned down money to just be home with his family. Yeah. And I think the conclusion I draw, and shout out to Ben Matlock, Conway Nutrition.
He actually just sent a message, as you said.
That's wild.
1 minute ago.
Shout out to Ben Matlock. I was in there the other day getting a tea, and and he had mentioned, he's like, somebody made the comment, I forget like what we were talking about one thing, but he's like, but imagine, he said they talked about one day, like, what if they just took away like cell phones in general? He's like, you go
That'd
back
be
to
great.
the day where you have the handheld or whatever on the wall. And I was like, I wouldn't be mad, I think.
No.
I was like, I think there's pros and cons. Like, you
Yeah.
know, obviously like we keep up with so much because of the internet.
Mm.
But like think about like the benefits of not like we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Yeah.
We would have to find a magazine somewhere in a store to then reveal like, oh my goodness, what's going on in Hollywood or what's going on in the influence circle that I follow. And I was like, man, like that would be so that would I think life would be more simple. I don't think it resolves our, you know, world issues.
Well, we did something like discipleship, I think, where you jokingly, like, we all sat down. You're like, all right, so we're giving up our friends for the week, and I was like,
yeah,
please take it. I agree. I would love to go back,
and
we should.
And here's the thing, like
go with the Amish.
We could, like anybody could. Nah, I wouldn't
wouldn't
go
have a job.
Amish. Yeah, you wouldn't. So, but like I'm saying, like
else.
People that are like, man, I wish we just get rid of cell phones. I'm like, well, do it. Like, and he's like,
how do we tie this into the force rank thing?
I'm just saying like that, like we wouldn't be talking about this if it wasn't for social media. Because this is like, so you talk about Fox News and stuff and like things that are being promoted. We talk about ESPN.
Anxiety would be down.
150%.
Gender identity confusion would be down because you wouldn't have social media.
The statistics, I mean, they even, which company wrote, or I mean, made a documentary on like what social media does to the brain? I think Netflix. They released something about like the dopamine hits that it does and like how they're tracking, like, you know, the algorithm where they know what you're clicking on, they know what you're viewing, and so then they're like boom, 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 boom.
So if they know that, why aren't they telling the police that someone's looking up mass shooters every day?
Because it's a money scheme and people are sinful. And I don't want to cop out with a simple answer, but it's so true. I think we give too much credit to people in this world when in reality Satan is still the prince of this place. And we need to be on guard, and this is why we need the Bible. We need to go back to the basics. Hey.
Oh my gosh. They don't know what you're talking about.
I know. And just literally submit to God, because that's where freedom is found. We literally talked about it the other night.
So what's your like overall, do you think this is Corey Asbury force rank thing?
I think
blown out of proportion or what?
I think there's going to be a song released by them too.
Yeah. So what? So it's also like a good representation of the gospel though, of like
reconciliation.
They did it. I also don't think it should have been done over social media like that.
I think it's a good thing for other people to see. So yes. I see the benefit.
Yeah.
I see the pro and con. Like, I agree with you. Like, do we need to post everything on social media?
Right.
No. The happiest people are probably the ones that aren't posting like their loved ones like every single day. Mm-hmm. Yet at the same time, it's good for Christians to be like, maybe this is how I should act, because sometimes we treat somebody that bumps into our shoulder or comments something on a post that, you know, we posted and it was rude or crude, all those things. And I'm like,
I'm getting better with that.
I thought you said bitter.
No,
I'm getting bitter with that.
Better.
Yes. How we respond as believers says everything to some people about the gospel.
That's good.
And so, you know, continue to sanctify your thoughts and your actions, and keep growing in Christ.
I kind of like talking about these different cultural things and like newsworthy. It just gets me going.
We don't really need topics every week. We could just sit down and talk.
Yeah, about the news. Like, this was a news heavy week.
Yeah, but some days
highlighted by Taylor Swift.
Shout out.
But college football.
We're back.
It's back. Ladies, if there's any woman listening to this, tune in, lean in to where we're going to tell you, because you will impress your man this weekend if you just like listen to the things that we got to say about college football and the picks. And, you know, I know some of y'all out there are listening because I got a random text last week that was saying, you think I'm arrogant and living in the past? And I was like, man, what did I say about this person? Okay, we're just going to call him out. Chloe Skipper. I was like, What did I ever say to anyone about Chloe?
Man, it just tells you, though, like, college
arrogant.
football means more.
Right. Well, I was talking about Clemson fans being arrogant and living in the past, which I fully stand on. I will say the Skippers are an exemption to the typical.
Because she called you out?
No, because they're like humble, not living in the past like some other people that we know.
Are you talking about? They literally told you the other night you're living in the past because the West Virginia game, and you're like, 100%. Well, guys, that's all I have right now, so I have to.
Yes.
But with college football, we got picks to make last year.
Anyway, my point was, women, tune in here and listen, because I know you're listening. And it's,
are you going to
tell
tell them, like,
advice.
don't plan a wedding in the fall?
Oh, 100%. I can't think of anything more selfish than you planning your wedding on a Saturday in the fall. That is,
sorry, Jason.
It's like, I get it's like your day, it's your magical day, whatever, but it's so selfish for the other people. I will not come to a wedding.
What if your wife plans? She's like,
my
hey,
wife will not, because I won't be getting married.
Listen.
I won't be getting married.
Okay, never mind.
It's going to be a spring wedding or summer or winter.
See, now you are getting married.
No, I mean,
what if
I won't get married in the fall.
But what if like they're like, hey, like my grandmother died on this day in November.
Well, we'll have a
I want to
memorial for her.
I want to have my wedding day. I've always dreamed of having my wedding day like on that day. It's going to be so special. You wouldn't budge.
We'll have grandma at the table.
You're that Christian in Romans 14. You're like, I only eat vegetables.
Yeah, it's stupid. And what I can't believe is, is that funny to you? What I can't believe is Ashley and Keith got married on Clemson Carolina Day, and apparently Amanda
on Clemson Carolina Day.
This ain't about you. And apparently Amanda and Autry also got married on Clemson Carolina game. And these are like the most diehard Clemson fans that I know.
Does it say something about us though, where we rank college football? Like, are we putting it?
Look,
is this the point we're shoving it up there on the pedestal?
Look, we have 4 seasons in a year, and 3 of them are dedicated to everything but that. I'm going to take my 4 months out of a year and be happy.
Travel the world to go watch 6-6 West Virginia
or Coastal get throttled by Virginia this week.
Who do you have? You got Alabama. Like at the end of the year, you still have that. So
I mean, that's like the bottom of my
your list. Is Liberty
okay.
3?
West Virginia, Coastal, Liberty, Bama.
Okay. Can we get to the picks?
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. We've got 5 games to start the year. 5 games. Last year, I ended up with a better record by like a handful. But we're going to keep track this year. I think we have a punishment at the end of the season for this.
Are we going to stick to it?
Yes. Not a tattoo.
Bro, I want another tattoo.
It's not a punishment for you. You'd be like, okay, Florida State, Alabama. Yeah, I'm taking Florida State.
The location was.
Okay, so I don't know. We'll come up with that as the season progresses. 5 games on the menu.
Let us know, people.
Week 1, cannot wait. Starting with the 12 o'clock, the game of the week, number 1 versus number 3, Ohio State, Texas.
It's
who
criminal.
You got?
It's criminal that it's a noon game and that YouTube
Absolutely.
TV is not covering it.
Money schemes, money talks.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But
they're in the shoe. Let's talk about that for a second. The reigning national champion against who everybody believes is like the greatest quarterback that has ever walked this earth in Arch Manning. Going against each other. We haven't seen much of Arch. I remember watching him getting rocked against Georgia last season when he got in. But I also believe the kid is going to do great things. I cannot stand Ohio State. I respect them on every level. They are a faith-based team for the most part, from what I can see.
You're just jealous that Penn State doesn't have that.
But hook 'em. I'm going Texas. I flipped because I know who you're taking.
See, my problem last year with our picks was like I picked from the heart.
I'm
not
picking,
my head.
I'm picking from the heart.
And I'm still picking from the heart because what fun is it cheering against a team that you don't want to win?
Are you talking about like, so you would be mad if I took Ohio State there?
No. Like if Pitt is in a pick, like if we're picking a game with Pitt, like I'm obviously going to pick against Pitt because I hate Pitt. And I don't want to sit there and watch the
Not
game.
so fast, midget.
I don't want to sit there and watch the game
Dude.
and cheer for Pitt just to beat you.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Okay, I'm going Bucks. OHIO. Shout out Reina.
It is Lee Corso's last headgear.
Oh.
It's going to be an emotional Saturday.
And it's Florida State, Alabama. That's crazy.
What? No, it's Ohio State, Texas.
Mm-mm.
That's his headgear pick.
They're at Florida State. Because that... Are you sure?
I listen. I've been waiting for this. Go ahead.
Where's College Game Day going tomorrow? Oh, Siri and Alexa are probably the two most worthless things in America.
I can tell you. Where is game day?
Here, I'll pull it up. You go to the next pick.
Ann Arbor. Wait, no.
Oh, no. College Game Day will broadcast live from Columbus, Ohio for the first. So sorry. You were right.
Thank you.
But I thought I saw somewhere where they were at
game
Florida
number
State.
2.
Because that's where he started.
Yeah. Syracuse, Tennessee. Everybody's calling this an upset alert. I think it's in Atlanta, Georgia. Nico left Tennessee last season.
Womp
A
womp.
lot of controversy there. Syracuse is one of those underrated teams in the ACC, but I'm going with the Vols.
I'm also going Rocky Top. For the past month, Tennessee's band has been flooding my TikTok
Have you been in Neyland?
No.
That is put it on your list.
Yeah, I want to go. I was supposed to go to the Alabama-Tennessee game when Tennessee
One.
Yeah.
Yep.
But Tennessee band and LSU band has been flooding my TikTok for the past month, and it's just been getting me going in all the right ways.
All right. Number 3, Alabama, Florida State.
Roll Tide.
I think it's one of those games that everybody's trying to hype up, and I just don't see Florida State having any sort of chance in this. I'm going with the Tide.
I'm pissed at Alabama, though.
Huh?
I'm pissed at Alabama.
Why?
Because West Virginia was supposed to play them the next 2 years. And
Okay, but there was no benefit to either team for that game. West Virginia.
100% there was a benefit.
What is it?
I got to watch Alabama play West Virginia, and I got to travel.
Selfish.
And I got to travel to Tuscaloosa. That I've been
You could still
waiting
travel to
for
Tuscaloosa,
not to watch West Virginia.
right?
I was going to get
You'd
that
watch
print,
him get throttled.
my favorite print, Houndstooth print in blue and gold, and just fit right in Tuscaloosa. And now I can't.
I'm taking Bama.
Roll Tide.
Number 4 on the menu. Let's jump to 11 p.m. before we go back to 7:30 p.m. Utah, UCLA. The only reason I'm picking this game is because I couldn't narrow down another one. We could jump to Sunday and go USC, Virginia Tech, but I think we're both taking USC in that. So
Monday night.
Oh, dude, you know
Tar
what?
Heels.
All right, I'm crossing out UCLA, Utah. Let's go to Miami, Notre Dame. That is a
Notre
game
Dame.
on Monday night. Killed the anticipation. I'm also taking Notre Dame. A classic, though. Catholics versus convicts is what they used to call this game. And back
It's
in
like
the
one of
day-
those games where I just wish both would lose.
Yeah, I don't like Miami right now, and I don't like Notre Dame. They literally knocked us out of the playoff last year in the semis.
Womp womp. Miami's kind of like the armpit of college football too.
Wow.
I don't like. They're right there with Virginia Tech. A bunch of slobs.
Whoa. Don't you dare disrespect Virginia Tech.
Horrible fan base. Disgusting people. In the most Christian way, I say.
We're both taking Notre Dame.
They both beat things.
And
Michael Vick beat dogs. Miami beats people.
final game on the slate.
Go Tigers.
LSU, Clemson, the battle of the Tiger. The battle of
Death Valley.
who holds the real Death Valley.
And it ain't in South Carolina.
It is a game. Here's my thing. Everybody's taking Clemson in their playoff. Like they're saying they're running the table. I don't trust Cade Klubnik. Not yet. They're in the ACC. No disrespect.
A full disrespect. The ACC's garbage.
I'm just saying, like,
The Big 12's better
In
than
this
the
game-
ACC, everyone.
Brian Kelly has also been 0-3 in his 3 years as the LSU football coach in week 1. He has not won
Clemson lost last
or
year.
week 0. What?
Clemson also lost last year to Georgia.
Yes. So, I think it's a redemption game for Brian Kelly. My score prediction all week has been 27-24 LSU, and I'm sticking to that. I'm taking LSU 27-24. I think it's going to be 27-17. Clemson's going to score late. It's going to be like one of those controversial endings, like do they get the onside kickback? We don't know, and then ball game, LSU takes it. So could it go either way? Yes, just like Ohio State, Texas. So yeah.
Do I
already know your pick.
I think Clemson's a better ball team? Yeah.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Because Carolina should beat.
They returned
LSU
a lot
last year,
of
too.
starters, didn't they? Clemson.
I don't know. I don't care enough to pay attention to that football program.
I will say this: I am not a Clemson fan. My wife is a graduate from Clemson, and I love
forgive
my wife.
her.
She thinks that
I
I
love
hate
my
them.
wife.
She thinks I don't like them because she likes them, and I'm like, that's just not true.
I hate them even more
I do
because
have a weird
Jordan went
theory,
there.
though.
I hate them even more because Jordan likes him.
All right, I have a weird theory though. Like when teams get really, really, really good, when Clemson went on that run, like where they were just like killing people every season.
You're welcome.
I just I was like, all right, they're the villain, and I need somebody to come in and be the I love an underdog story.
I just don't like Dabo.
I don't mind Dabo. I can respect him.
Okay.
Yeah. Should we do our 12-team playoff, or is that?
I also just don't like their fans. I love some of you, but the rest of them, I don't like.
We can talk
I
about
don't know
every
what my
fan
12.
base though. What? You don't know your 12?
No,
Really? I could tell you Boise State's not your non-Power 5.
I think it would be JMU.
Gruesome to watch.
JMU or Liberty.
Not Liberty.
Interesting.
Navy.
No.
Why?
No.
Tulane.
No.
You won somewhere from the Sun Belt.
I want the Christians to.
You think is
win.
James Madison a Christian?
No,
university?
Liberty.
Oh. They're not going to do it.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe we do it next week, or we just put it on Instagram. Like, here's our 12.
Sure, why not?
You know who I'm taking though, to win it all, and it's because deep down I know I'm a delusional fan.
So I'm going to call the FBI because you are showing signs of mental illness as we speak, and an identity crisis, actually.
Penn State versus Texas, national championship
oh my
game.
gosh. Please.
We're taking it.
I won't even watch that game.
A disgrace to both me
Who wants to
and
watch
college
that?
football.
Number one, I
Everybody.
hate Texas.
Everybody.
Everyone hates Texas.
I don't hate Texas.
Because you're delusional.
Why hate Texas?
Because they're always hyped up. They're overhyped. Texas
Exactly.
is back.
They haven't
Texas
done
is
anything
back.
for me to hate them though. Like, they may say it, but it's not true.
I just don't like overhypeness.
My buddy the other day told me that's why he can't stand Coastal. He's like, because they nobody cares about them, and then when they start winning, it's like everybody jumps on board.
Yeah, I can see that. But we're also a young team, so it's like
I don't
young
understand
program.
the hate for small schools.
I hate App State.
That's because you're a Coastal fan, though.
That's because they're trash.
If you had nothing to do with Coastal, I don't think you'd hate App.
Well, that's because I never experienced
Maybe
App
I would
until
feel
I
the same
went
about
there.
Ohio State, though.
But
if I wasn't a Penn State fan, no, a lot of people hate Ohio State.
But I went to App for the game and experienced treacherous waters and hell.
The worst fan bases I've been around, Kentucky was pretty bad. After we
Really?
went to a USC game, we went to a South Carolina game at USC, and Kentucky beat them that game, and they were just afterwards they were just in our face.
That's shocking.
Yeah, they must have been drunk. So
Most are.
Yeah, but those are our picks. College football's back. It's
The three worst fan bases are Pitt, Virginia Tech, and App State. I just want to get that in there.
Notice how it's the three rivalries for his sports teams.
Yeah, because I see the worst in them every time.
What would Jesus do?
Not be an App
Down.
State, Virginia Tech, or Pitt fan. That's for sure.
What do you think? What football team would you cheer for? And if you
West Virginia, because it's almost heaven.
I'm done.
Almost heaven.
It was a pleasure.
The sun is yellow. The sky is blue. And the clouds are
Follow
white.
us if you haven't yet. Social media, YouTube.
It's that camera.
Would love to have you. And we'll see you next week.